Welcome to Freshly Recapped. Today, I'm going to recap the Indian horror movie, Tumbad, a village in rural India. It's a movie about a man in that village, who seeks a hidden treasure guarded by a cursed god, and pays dearly for it. Enjoy the video and watch out for the spoilers ahead. We are in 1918. We see Vinayak, a young boy in his village Tumbad, a place cursed by rain and famine at the same time. We learn his mother works for Sarkar, a local landlord, who owns an old mansion in the village, where no one ever goes. Vinayak's mother also takes care of Sarkar's grandmother, an old woman who is chained to her bed, and cannot feed herself. Not soon thereafter, when the landlord dies, the family decides to leave the village and move to Pune as there is no one to pay them any more for her work. Vinayak pushes his mother to ask the old woman about the location of the treasure in the house. She tells him there is no treasure in the house. The landlord, while alive, looked for it his whole life, but never found it. She then asks him to prepare for their departure because they will be leaving at the first light tomorrow. Later, while playing outside, his younger brother Sadashiv falls down from a tree and hurts himself badly. While rushing him to the town, his mother asks Vinayak to feed the old woman in her absence, one last time. Later that night, as he is late in feeding her, the grandmother, possessed by something, comes after him, asking for food. Vinayak tries to remember what his mother said to calm her down, but he struggles to find the words. At last, when he manages to remember the words, he calms her down as she lies on the floor helpless. Meanwhile, his mother, on her way to the town, realizes Sadashiv is dead and decides to return from the middle of her journey. She finds Vinayak all shaken up in the mansion by himself. The next morning, as they are leaving on a boat, Vinayak begs her mother to go back and ask the old woman for the treasure she is hiding. To calm him down, his mother hands him a gold coin and tells him to shut up, but Vinayak persists, telling her there may be more of where these come from. But when she threatens to kill him if he ever set foot in the village, Vinayak relents and backs off. The story then moves to 1933, 15 years later, when Vinayak, now all grown up, comes back and finds the old woman still alive in the mansion. When he asks her why she was not burnt alive with her husband as is the custom in her religion, she tells him she needed to climb down the well too. He asks her if it's the well where the treasure is buried. She tells him not to repeat the same mistake she did. She then asks him to burn her, as it's the only way to satiate her forever hunger and to free herself from the hell she has been in during all these years. Later, after finding the treasure, he comes back and burns the old woman alive. Soon thereafter, we see Vinayak return to his wife in the city, with the good news, as their fortunes are about to change. He tells her she does not need to work anymore. Not wasting any time, he visits the local money changer, Raghav, who tells him he is bribing an officer in the East India Company for a permit for opium trade, and soon he will have work for him. Raghav asks him if he can exchange for a coin he has, and then hands him the gold coin. When Raghav asks him to consider his old debt with him is settled now. To his surprise, Vinayak then informs him he has more of those coins, and asks him if he is good for them too. As Vinayak begins to continuously make his trips down to Tumbad, and down the well, after a few trips, we see there are so many gold coins that Raghav runs out of money to exchange for his gold coins. But Vinayak tells him it's not a worry, as it's he who is now in his debt. When Raghav asks him if he is stealing the gold from the town of Tumbad, he tells him he can too, if he dares, as they both laugh. While out on a stroll in the market, Raghav comes to know the officer who he has been bribing for his opium permit is about to be transferred from the city. He tells him to hurry up, now he only has a month for arranging the money if he needs his permit, before he is transferred. Pressed for time, he follows Vinayak on one of his trips to Tumbad. There, Vinayak notices, he is being followed by someone. Sometime later, when Vinayak comes out of the well, Raghav descends into it and finds a labyrinth that leads to a chamber that resembles a womb. As Vinayak prepares the dough outside, we see Raghav pick up the dough left for him on the ground. As we hear a deathly howl of Hastar echo in the womb, he soon comes after him and takes him away. When Vinayak comes back, he sees the half-dead body of Raghav on the wall of the womb as he is slowly eaten away. Seeing him growl in anguish, he tells him to go to sleep, else Hastar will come for him. That makes him fall asleep. Now, we see how Raghav has been picking his gold coins all this time. As he baits Hastar with the dough, we see Hastar is a monstrous creature who is covered in gold but also has wounds all over his body. He sleeps in a pool of liquid that resembles his mother's womb. Vinayak has learnt that he can lure Hastar by offering him balls of dough laced with opium, which makes him drowsy and vulnerable. He can then pluck gold coins from Hastar's body without touching him. However, he has to be careful not to wake up Hostar or attract his attention, as Hostar will chase him and try to kill him. Away from the well, we see Vinayak is now becoming addicted to opium and prostitution while he is raising his son Pandurang. The story then moves to 1947, when we see Pandurang now as a teenager, in the middle of his training. He shows his interest to join his father in his trips to Tumbad and look for his own treasure. Vinayak reluctantly agrees and asks his wife to prepare him for the trip ahead. Later, when Pandurang asks his mother what will he find there, she tells him she does not know, and that he can tell her when he is back from the trip with his father. While driving there, he tells Pandurang everything about Hostar and how he picks the gold by distracting him with the sounds of bells tied to him. He warns him not to be greedy or careless. Once there, Vinayak takes him through his routine as he shows him how to prepare the food. However, he tells him that as it's his practice run and they will not take any food with them today. Soon Pandurang finds himself inside the womb with his father. However, he proves to be more adventurous than his father, and brings some food for Hostar, and when Hostar comes after the food, he takes the coins from him. As they drive back to home, Vinayak asks him to keep the coins, he has earned it. Sometime later, Vinayak discovers India is now a free country with a democratic government, and that government has now taken over the mansion at the Tumbad and soon it will be out of their reach. Pandurang asks his father what if they take more than one piece of dough to Hostar, and take him for everything he has got for the one last time. Vinayak thinks about what his son said. Soon we see them back at the well, but this time they take along as many pieces of dough as they can. However, Vinayak finds out it's not just one Hostar they have to deal with, but there is one Hostar for every dough they have brought. Now trapped inside with hundreds of Hostars in the womb, in a last-ditched attempt to save Pandurang, he straps himself with all the doughs and begins to climb the rope. We see all the Hostars begin to explode as they step outside the door to the tomb as the curse foretells. Now outside, Pandurang finds his father has been infected with the curse too, as he slowly begins to start rotting for eternity ahead. Unable to see him suffer in such a way, Pandurang burns him alive. The movie ends as he walks away from the mansion and locks the door behind him. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for more of these videos in future. Thanks for watching.